Are you thinking about making a podcast? If you are, I know you want to be able to make that podcast in a way that's easy and not complicated. And you want to be able to make that podcast in a way that it's not going to cost you an arm or a leg. Well, I have a solution for you. It's called Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast. Here's what you need to do. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's anchor.fm to get started. Start your podcast today. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Currently On podcast. Let's take a look at what's on for Thursday, July the 16th, 2020 at 2:27 p.m. Central Time. Now, you've probably experienced something like this. You're sitting down, you're watching the news on your television, and the newscaster starts telling you about some horrific event that has occurred. Maybe it was a crime, a murder, some kind of tragedy, and then they tell you, we're going to show you some footage that may be disturbing, and then they show you footage of this crime, of this tragedy, of this murder, and maybe this footage was captured on a cell phone, or maybe it was captured on a CCTV. A CCTV. Now, what is a CCTV? A CCTV is a closed-circuit television camera. So CCTV, a closed-circuit television camera. You've probably heard that term, but we've all experienced that. We're watching the news and we're like, man, that's horrible. I can't believe that happened. And then we walk away with that impression in our mind and with the idea that that is exactly what happened. I mean, think about the year 2020. I mean, this year has been a year of footage from either a closed circuit television camera or from a cell phone camera showing us some horrific things that has happened. And as a result of seeing that footage, well, it's led to protests, to riots, to really the society at large having some very important conversations about some very important issues facing us not only here in the United States of America, but facing us around the world. And a lot of these conversations, a lot of the protests and a lot of the riots all started because of footage they saw either from a cell phone or from a CCTV camera. So this is a very relevant topic. Now, if you live in the United Kingdom, you're very familiar with CCTV cameras because the United Kingdom has one of the largest totals of CCTV cameras in the world. The British security industry estimates that there are between, are you ready for this? 4 to 5.9 million cameras. So there are between 4 to 5.9 million cameras currently operating in the United Kingdom. That's hard to believe. So pretty much anywhere you go in the United Kingdom, there's probably a CCTV camera monitoring you, capturing what you are doing. Now, this raises all kinds of issues and questions, especially here in the United States of America. It would raise lots of questions. Is this constitutional? Is this right? Is this a violation of my privacy? We could talk to people about it. Are you willing to give up a sense of privacy for a sense of security? Are you glad these cameras are there? How can these cameras be used by law enforcement? Should they be used by law enforcement? Like what? I mean, there's a whole set of issues that could be brought up and discussed. But again, the United Kingdom, and I'm going to keep stressing this, the United Kingdom has one of the largest totals of cameras in the world. Again, it's estimated that there are between 4 to 5.9 million cameras operating in the United Kingdom. Now, why am I bringing all of this up? Because you're saying, wait, you told me what's what's on for Thursday, July the 16th. Are you telling me that what's on is CCTV cameras in the United Kingdom? Yes. Well, they're definitely currently on. And actually, they're currently on in places all around the world. And they raise lots of legal questions. Some may say ethical questions. But the reason I'm telling you about all of this is not because I want you to know these cameras are on. It's because of what is currently streaming on the new streaming service, Peacock TV. Now, for those who live in the United Kingdom, you probably have already, the show I'm going to tell you about actually premiered on BBC One on September the 3rd, 2019. I had never heard of the show until the Peacock TV streaming service was released, and this is one of the shows that they are featuring, and one of the shows they're promoting, I would say somewhat heavily, as one of their kind of quote unquote original programming. So here in the United States of America, I never heard of this show. Peacock television streaming service is released on Wednesday, and well, today I watched the episode that I'm about to tell you about of this show that I'm about to tell you about that, again, originally premiered on BBC One on September the 3rd, 2019. But for us in America, July 15th, 2020 is kind of when it really premiered for us on the Peacock TV streaming service. Now, I did an entire episode on the Peacock TV streaming service. I talked through the whole process of downloading the app, signing up for it, and looked at some of the content. But this show, I saw it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to at least watch the first episode. I didn't really know what to expect. But by the time it was over, wow, lots of thoughts came to my mind specifically about the United Kingdom and CCTV cameras. That's what my mind really started thinking about, because it raises lots of questions. So before I tell you about the show, let me ask you a question. All right. So I've given you this scenario of watching the news and you see them showing you some horrific event that was captured on CCTV cameras or on cell phones. Now, here's the question. When you see that footage, do you walk away thinking to yourself that that video 100% captured exactly what happened, and what I saw is what happened, and you walk away with a conclusive idea in your mind? In fact, you draw conclusions about innocence and guilt based on what you saw captured on a CCTV or a cell phone. Do you find yourself doing that? Do you immediately go and tell people about the story? Hey, you're not going to believe what happened here. I saw the footage and it was horrific. This person committed this crime. This person killed this individual killed this person. It's horrific. It's horrible. Something needs to be done. Do you walk away speaking about what you saw as if it is factual, accurate, and that it accurately captured what occurred? Do you ever go, wait a minute, does this really show me everything? Is there more footage? Is there a different camera angles? Do you ever wait to draw a conclusion until you see further evidence? Now, that ethical question about do you draw conclusions and do you determine guilt or innocence based off what you see from a CCTV camera or from a cell phone, and that is an ethical question, because you are drawing a conclusion about someone's innocence or someone's guilt, or you're drawing a conclusion about what happened based on what you see, and then you dogmatically speak about that situation. That kind of question about should we trust them, can we trust them, do they prove someone's innocence, or could they possibly lead to someone being found guilty for something they did not actually do? All of those kinds of questions play a major part in a show currently streaming on the Peacock TV streaming service. The name of the show is called Capture. Capture, Capture, Capture. Now, Capture is a British mystery crime drama. And so that's why it premiered in 2019 on BBC One. So it's a British mystery crime drama. It is set in present-day London. Detective Inspector Rachel Carey, who is assigned to arrest and charge United Kingdom Special Forces Lance Corporal Sean Emery, who is looking to clear his name of a horrific crime supposedly captured by CCTV. Now you see how it all comes together. All right, so Capture is a British mystery crime drama. It is set in present-day London. Detective Inspector Rachel Carey, who's assigned to arrest and charge United Kingdom Special Forces Lance Corporal Sean Emery, who is looking to clear his name of a horrific crime supposedly captured by CCTV. Now, when this show was immediately released on BBC One, it received positive reviews from critics and audiences, and it was announced in June of 2020 that a second series, has been commissioned. Again, called Capture, currently streaming on the Peacock TV streaming service. Now, what can I tell you about this show? I do not want to give away any spoilers, so I'm going to purposely, in fact, I'm not even going to read the premise of the show beyond what I just read, because some sites where they give you the premise, I think, are giving away too much. I would tell you, do not watch the trailer. Don't read anything about it. Just download the Peacock TV streaming service, sign up for the 7-day free trial, and at least watch episode 1. And then you can determine if you want to. It is worth your time, because it's fascinating, because it raises all of these issues about these cameras and do we trust them and how we draw conclusions. It raises a lot of these very important questions that I hope people would have a conversation about. So here's what I'm going to do. I'll give you some basics. Capture is rated TV mature, primarily for language. And episode 1, there is a couple in bed. There's, I guess, kind of backside nudity, maybe, barely. It's possibly there. I mean, it's there and gone so quick. You really, it's not there. It's there, but it moves by very quick. So just be aware of that in case you have any issues with that kind of content. Does have adult language, definitely. Any violence the violence is kind of hinted at so far. It hasn't been explicitly shown. So it's really more about mystery. It's more about questions of who did it, how did they do it, when did they do it. It's a question about innocence and guilt, all right? And they really set you up in a very brilliant way. And this is so important to understand about the show as you're watching it. The first section is to cause you to doubt and to question CCTV. It's to cause you to doubt, well, wait a minute, just because I see something on camera, that may not tell the whole story. That may not be an accurate representation. Even though I'm seeing it, it may not be an accurate representation. So can I truly trust what I see captured on a CCTV camera? Can I truly trust it? And the first part, kind of the first segment of the show, is giving you a very strong, no, you cannot trust it. Then it flips to go back to something captured on CCTV camera, right? And now you're like, well, wait a minute. If I couldn't trust it in the first part of the show, can I trust it in the second part of the show? And then they do something right at the very end of episode 1 to make you go, wait a minute. Maybe this is true. So you're left with lots of questions and lots of doubt, which creates mystery, which is what a show is supposed to do. It is well acted. The only thing I would say, and this is a criticism only from American ears, there's certain things they say that I don't quite get or don't quite understand. Maybe it's phrases or terms used in the UK that are common. So there's sometimes I had to turn the volume up and go, wait, what exactly did they say there? And maybe not quite understand it, but that's probably true of someone in the UK watching a show in America or even listening to me. So other than that, I thought the show is very well acted. I thought it was very well written. And I think that this overarching theme of CCTV cameras is a fascinating thing to explore. Now, I don't know how far they're going to explore it, right? I don't know if they're really, these cameras are just everywhere. And they show these individuals monitoring these cameras and then I guess contacting people to send police to that area. They don't ever bring up, is this ethical? Is this right? I mean, obviously it's in the UK. Their governmental structure is a little different here in the United States of America. Obviously we have the United States Constitution, and there's certain things that we in America would argue those cameras, we can only use them for certain things and they can't be used to do this and do that. There's all kinds of legal issues. They never really raised, or at least they show you the cameras. They show you people monitoring the cameras. They show you how in one particular case, maybe you can't trust the cameras. But I just felt that they could have possibly brought up, is this even right to be monitoring everyone around the clock? Is this a good thing to be monitoring everyone? Maybe they will explore that. The real question they're exploring, though, is can you trust it? Can you trust it? And I think here in the United States of America, we've had some pretty big news stories over the years, especially in the last couple of years, where, this footage seems to demonstrate that these kids were doing, this, and then everyone jumps to a conclusion, assassinates their character, condemns them to the 20th level of, Hades, and then later additional footage seems to tell a different story. But the damage is already done. So that's why I keep framing this as an ethical question. People, and it really comes down to the ethics of journalism. If you're going to grab footage from a camera and say, hey, we've got this story, here's the footage, you've got to ensure you've got to make sure that everyone gets the entire picture. Not if the footage is 10 minutes long, then you've got to show all 10 minutes. And on the nightly news, they're going to reduce that down to what they believe is pertinent. But in many cases, maybe the whole context is important to the actual understanding of what happened. This raises questions about news media, raises questions about our perception. It's amazing that we can see something, we can hear something, we can read one tweet, we can read one report, we can watch one thing and draw complete conclusions that lead us to condemn or speak negatively of a person, even though we don't have the full context. I think it's weird. If it's about us, we want everyone to have full context. We want them to have all the context. We want them to have all the information. If it's about others, we sometimes don't. So we're sometimes not willing to exercise that same level of grace that we crave and that we demand. We want a little bit of grace and mercy for us, but when it comes to other people, hey, I saw the video. You're a piece of human garbage. You deserve whatever you get. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Are we sure we understand it correctly? Can we truly trust our eyes? Can we truly trust what we see? Those are some of the questions. I'm not going to give you any more information about the show because I don't want to ruin it for you. So this is what I tell you to do. Go to wherever you download your apps or channels to be able to view on your television or your mobile device, however you choose to consume media in 2020. Download the Peacock TV streaming service. Look for the show Capture. Watch episode 1. Even if you don't watch the rest of it, I think these questions will lead you. And I left enough of that vague that I don't think I'm going to ruin anything for you. And I think you're going to go through, wait a minute. There was a part of the show that I was kind of like, I don't really know what I think about this. But by the time they got to the dramatic conclusion of episode 1, they had pulled me in. They pulled me into the narrative. They've given me enough about the characters to try to understand kind of their motivations, their desires, what they're trying to accomplish. That the story checked all the boxes, gave you background, gave you context, created these bigger questions, and then bring you right to the end of episode 1 where you're like, wait a minute. Who did it? How did it happen? What occurred? How are they going to figure this out? Who do they trust? And why, or can we not trust what we see on a CCTV camera? Yes, I am a trained professional broadcaster. So, Yeah, don't try this at home, all right? But can we trust what we see? That is the question. It's worth your time. Go watch it today. I'm going to watch episode 2 possibly tonight. I'm really into The Warrior Nun right now on Netflix, man. I'm digging that because of its theological parts to it. That's definitely in my wheelhouse with my degrees. So I'm definitely watching Warrior Nun on Netflix tonight, but I think I'm going to go back and watch episode 2 of Capture. I've seen it as listed as The Capture or just Capture. I think it's just Capture. But I'm definitely going to watch episode 2. I'm very curious to see where the story goes. Can it lead to a season 2? I don't know. Sometimes you'll see a show and you're like, you should just stop right there. That was pretty good. I don't know. I have no idea because I haven't seen the conclusion of season 1. So we will see. But I think you will enjoy it. I think you'll thank me for telling you about it. So The Capture, Peacock TV, watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll like it. And I warned you about possible content that may offend you. If you don't like it for that, then don't watch it, obviously. All right. Thank you for tuning in to the Currently On podcast. This podcast is dedicated to, well, I think you can probably guess it, what's currently on. All right. And there's some discussion going on that a movie that a lot of people who are into kind of superhero comic book kind of movies that a lot of people have been waiting for. And there's talks that it's going to be released soon to probably Disney Plus. That is the rumor. We'll probably do an episode talking about that. But there could be a new movie that a lot of people have been waiting for, possibly dropping on Disney Plus, and possibly, I think one article I read, imminently. So maybe tomorrow, maybe. So we will see. This weekend on Saturday, UFC is doing another fight night on ESPN Plus if you're into mixed martial arts. Sunday night on the WWE Network, which you can subscribe to for $9.99 a month. Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Even if you're not into professional wrestling, it's very cool to watch wrestling right now in this time, this COVID-19 situation, because it's professional wrestling done without a live audience, which is bizarre. If you know anything about wrestling, that live audience is really critical to the storytelling. So that's interesting. And there is rumor that this pay-per-view is going to use CGI, right? Some kind of computer-generated image, which is going to be really interesting to see that done in a wrestling pay-per-view. And if you don't understand why, this is happening because of the COVID-19 situation and no audience, the wrestling companies feel like they have a little leeway. So now they can take the storytelling that may happen in a ring, they can pull it out of the ring, put it in any setting, and then create basically like a mini movie with dramatic music, sound effects, and, well, visual effects, it sounds like, this Sunday. And I think possibly the match they're going to use it in is called an eye for an eye match, where the only way you can win is by removing your opponent's eyeball from their eye socket. Yeah, sounds crazy. Yeah, obviously way over the top, but that's professional wrestling. So if you want maybe a different form of entertainment that you've never seen before, it's $9.99 a month. Watch the pay-per-view. Pay-per-views are usually $50, so you already saved money there. And there's all these documentaries on the WWE Network that you may want to watch. Even if you don't know anything about professional wrestling, those documentaries tell a lot about the history of wrestling. The one documentary on the Monday Night Wars, I think it's 8 parts, 9 parts, 10 parts, about the crazy world of wrestling in the 1990s between the WWF and the WCW. It's a very an entertaining documentary. There's a lot there. So I would challenge you, to try it out. I mean, that's the thing. We live in a time where you can just try out anything for usually a small fee or a free trial. Sign up and watch it. Expand your horizons. Just don't watch the same stuff over and over and over and over. Come on. There's a big world out there. Try different things, right? And have a mindset that you're willing to try new things and try to find ways to enjoy things, even though they may not be something that you would necessarily like. If you don't try new things, I mean, man, that's a boring life. All right. So there you have it. That's what's on for this Thursday, July the 16th, 2020. It is now 2:51 p.m. Central Time. You know what's on? So guess what? Go turn something on and watch something. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.